Donna, police want to stress they do not think this was a random act, but so far have not made any arrests.
Kind of late, and I just seen all these cop cars, and I saw the family out there, and I'm like, what happened? And
neighbors on Skipjack Court in Essex described the scene Monday night. Police showed up after a family member went to check on a woman who lived here.
And found her body in the living room, partially underneath a pull-out sofa. She had been dead for some time. We're not sure exactly how long. Although her friends tell us that the last time that they heard from her was Saturday.
Police say the woman is 47-year-old Shelley Fillion, and they're calling her death a homicide.
It's upsetting. I mean, I didn't know the people that lived there at all, but I mean, especially around the holidays, it's a tough time.
You just never know. I mean, it's scary to think that something, like that sad would happen, and my condolences go out to her whole family.
Some neighbors say they didn't know her well, but say she lived there with her husband and called both friendly, good neighbors. Police are staying mum about a motive and possible suspect, but say there is no danger to the community.
In this case, we feel pretty confident that this is not a random act, and as this investigation moves along and we're able to clarify why, we'll certainly do that.
Neighbors are waiting on those answers from police and say they hope Shelley Fillion gets justice.
Whatever happened, I hope they find out the truth, and especially for the family's sake.
This past Monday, family members of Shelley Fillion found her body inside her home in the unit block of Skipjack Court in Essex. County police say they had suspected her boyfriend, Terrence Jenkins, at the time, but could not find him. Then Thursday, a break in the case when police receive a tip someone spotted Jenkins making a phone call from a residence in the 3600 block of Pulaski Highway. The county quickly set up surveillance across the street at this motel, and while doing so, watched Jenkins walk up to one of the homes where a woman let him inside.
We did not know what his connection was to that house. If anything, we suspected that perhaps someone was harboring him there.
Police waited for him to exit, and when he did, they gave chase. This woman saw the whole thing but did not want to be identified.
And then all of a sudden they all busted in the house, and the black guy took off running, which they chased him and got him. And they said that they found the white woman in there dead.
Police would charge Jenkins with Fillion's murder, but now county and city police had another murder on their hands, as it appears the woman who let Jenkins inside is now dead. We asked county police why they waited so long. They say they had no proof the woman inside was in any sort of danger.
There was no sign of him forcing his way into this home. There were no sounds of distress coming from the home. So our practice is almost always to try to apprehend someone out in the open rather than to go inside and do it. It's a danger for our officers. It's also a danger for whoever else is inside that home.
We don't know much about who the second woman is yet, but here's an old picture of her put up by her son on the family's GoFundMe page to pay for her funeral. We know a little bit about the first woman found dead. Her name is Shelley Fillion. Why don't we cruise through some of the pictures on her Facebook page, and we can kind of get a picture of what her life was like before her boyfriend killed her. You know, when I first started writing about black on white crime and violence and black mob violence, I got a call from a woman named Crystalline Kerrison. Crystalline has a podcast, she wrote a book, she has a nice website where she does a blog, and the subject of her book, Crystalline is a black woman who lives in Southern California. Her book is called Swirling, and it's about interracial dating and mating. The gist of her book is that black women have to stop dating black men, start dating white guys and Asian guys if they want to increase their chances of finding someone to marry and have kids with. So I did her show, I did her blog, and she did my radio show a couple times, and we went back and forth. And I told her I thought her book was a lot more than just a dating book. And I had a chance to be on a video podcast with some of the people that are active in her blog. It was white guys and black women. So I kind of started asking them questions. And I said, listen, all the stuff I've seen so far, when a white guy goes out with a black woman, they get a lot of racial abuse. And everybody started going, yeah, that's true, Colin. I said, well, where does it come from? Does it come from white people or black people? And without hesitation and completely unanimously, it was the abuse that interracial couples receive is from black people. I've documented a lot. I'm thinking of a case in Savannah where I documented this. White guy, black girl, just out walking around the little centro of Savannah. A bunch of black guys came up and beat the hell out of them. That's why they did it. There's a lot of those cases. I think in Atlanta, a white guy was giving a black woman a ride to a train station, stopped into a gas station. A bunch of black people saw him. They beat him. They threw him into the traffic of a busy street where he died. The other way around probably isn't much safer. When you have a black man dating a white woman, the rates of crime and violence are enormously increased compared to if she were dating or marrying a white guy. I mean, the numbers are easy to find, and they kind of vary a little bit, but the rates of domestic violence and murder are 6, 7, 8 times larger when a white woman decides to enter into an interracial marriage with a black person. This whole racial thing, it's very difficult for a lot of people to talk about. But you throw sex on top of it, man, that's like putting nuclear gasoline on top of a fire. All of a sudden, we've got two topics that are extremely nasty that nobody wants to talk about, but that still a lot of people are being hurt by this denial and ignorance. Here are two cases we just saw right here, both in Baltimore, both from this one guy. So at some point, I guess we're going to have to start talking about this as well, and even more people's heads are going to start to explode. That's why it's important that when we talk about it, we try to adopt a tone of, without racism, without rancor, but without apology. There's something very, very wrong going on in this country, and way, way too many people are way too invested in ignoring it, denying it, condoning it, excusing it, encouraging it, and even lying about it. That's why we're doing these videos. That's why I wrote Don't Make the Black Kids Angry. That's why I want you to read that book. Pass the book around. Pass the videos around. Post it on your Facebook page. Post it on Twitter. Ask your friends. One question. Did you see this? You don't have to explain anything. You don't have to be an expert on interracial violence, interracial sexual violence. Did you see this? There's a lot of that going on. So if you're down in Baltimore, there's a lot of ways to die in Baltimore. We just did a story about a white kid driving a bicycle through a black neighborhood. That didn't work out. Right about the same time as when Shelly Fillion and her successor were both killed. So there's a lot of ways for a white person to die of racial violence in Baltimore. But every single way could be avoided if you just remember this one thing. Don't make the black kids angry.